adrenaline rush, burning higher and higher. WrestleManiacs attack, no turning back. WrestleManiacs attack under the blood moon. Broken bones, wounds that never heal. Minds on the edge, feel the
Yo, what's going on, everybody? WrestleManiacs are back, brother.
What up, brother?
How's everybody doing and not me?
We're doing pretty good now. You guys?
Yeah. Oh, I'm good, man.
Going a little later because, like, I didn't think it was going to end that quick.
I didn't either.
It was pretty early tonight, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I was not even aware of some of the matches. Like, I must not have been paying attention because for some reason I thought the men's Money in the Bank was going to be the last one. So I was like, geez, what time is this going to end? And then I forgot totally about that main event.
that IC title match was added like last minute, right?
Right.
Yeah, it was added during the Worlds Collide event earlier today.
Right. And that happened was that on Peacock as well? Or
That was on
else?
YouTube.
YouTube. Yeah. So that guy that Dominic actually faced on Money in the Bank was a part of a 6-man tag on Worlds Collide. And then like Dominic confronted him after the match and all that shit. So then they added that.
Which they could have done that a little bit better, didn't you think? Like that was you and me tonight, Money in the Bank.
It was.
They could have done it a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spur of the moment type.
It felt like too. Like I feel like it wasn't like when that guy's music hit. Like nobody knew who that was.
No.
Like it
not
was
at
like
all.
the crowd like didn't know what was happening. They just sat there. I'm like, no, dude. The crowd went so mild. What was his name? Like Octagon or something? What was his name?
Octagon Jr. Yeah, his dad.
I have no idea who any of these guys are. No clue.
So I think it's his dad. So the original Octagon was back in like the 90s, towards the beginning of the Attitude Era. They would feature a lot of those Mexican wrestlers, on WWF TV. I remember
he was part of that Hector Garza group and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Latin Lover.
Latin lover, yeah.
Dude, to be honest, like we can talk about that Worlds Collide event earlier today. I actually, I didn't get to watch all of it, but I really enjoyed I watched about an hour and a half of it or so, and just something totally different, right? So they're actually allowing them to do some of the classic luchador spots, like some of the comedic stuff and almost like slapstick comedy.
I love that.
And I hope that they keep doing that because that does differentiate it a little bit. And I think a lot of people seem to get a big kick out of Mr. Iguana.
Yeah, and somebody was messaging me and they're like, "Oh, I hope it was Mr." And I go, "I don't know what the hell are you talking about. Like, I've never heard of this person." I'm like, I'm confused.
Well, that's a character that could only I don't think that character could work in WWE at all. But it's a lot of fun.
I don't know, man. Like a lot of that. He's like half iguana, half man, I guess.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, he walks down to he crawls down to ringside like a fucking, I don't know, like a crocodile or something holding his food, right? Yeah. And he's got that puppet that he uses throughout the match.
Iguana, yeah.
What?
It's very like Santino and the Cobra stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think that
I don't know though. It doesn't really seem like my jam, to be quite honest with you.
I think that stuff is great for kids though, because that's where I think the main appeal is. Because I tell you, when I was a kid growing up in the '90s, that was my introduction to Lucha Libre. With all the guys coming into WCW, like Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Juventud Guerrero, La Parca, all those guys. So and I loved that. Like that was so the cruiserweight division in WCW was one of my favorite things about. Late '90s WCW. So, I think it's going to be a big deal, with bringing those AAA guys in, and I think it's going to sell a lot of merchandise to kids. So I think that's
Super Porky still alive?
Nah, I think he died a few years ago.
Oh man, I was going to say they could have the El Hijo del Super Porky, his son, or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think he passed away, and Silver King passed away not long ago too.
But yeah, I mean, definitely interesting. I'm not really sure where they go with it. Do you think that they'll actually do some of the smaller venues in Mexico like they were doing and air those on YouTube or whatever they're going to do? Or
Yeah, I think that that's what they're going to kind of stick with the whatever AAA show that they're going to be putting together is just going to kind of focus on their roster right now. They may throw in like some WWE guys here and there, like they do with the NXT shows, but I think that'll probably stick on YouTube for a little bit. And then they may do like a show every now and then, like they did today with the Worlds Collide, where they kind of like collaborate.
yeah, it'd be interesting to see because I actually did like in the late '90s, early 2000s. DirecTV had their shows on Univision, I think, or Galavision, one of those channels, and I kept up with that stuff pretty hardcore for a couple of years because like that was like a classic era. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see because I think AAA has been kind of like on the down low for a few years. And the other company is the one that's like the most popular, right? CMLL.
MLL, yeah. And they're affiliated with AEW right now, but I don't know how long that partnership is going to last at this point.
Now, what about I heard a rumor that they're totally done with Del Rio. Is that true?
Oh yeah, that's why they put the title on Vikingo. Because like that was just like a week ago he lost the title to Vikingo.
Okay,
Well, I mean,
so Del Rio wasn't on the show tonight.
No, he I don't think he's going to be affiliated.
I
with
thought that they had
WWE
said
at
that
all.
they signed him, but maybe that was.
I mean, it
Oh.
depends on the rumors. I mean, I've seen talk. I mean, this is coming from Meltzer, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. But
Yeah,
he's
that's
like,
true.
he's saying that there's plenty of people backstage that are pulling for Del Rio, and then there's definitely some detractors. So only time will tell. We'll see.
Did you see that thing when he was on that talk show the other day or whatever?
Oh, and he
And,
like slapped the shit out of that guy or
Yeah,
whatever?
that was all.
Dude,
that was all
I
staged.
don't. It was
Yeah.
fine. It was staged. He kicked the shit out of that guy. No, like there was no fake about that. Like he kicked the shit out of that guy.
He wanted
And
it
I'm
to
just
look
like,
good.
Oh my god! It looked real. I thought it was the whole thing was real. I didn't know who that guy was.
I don't
Found
know.
out
You
it was
think
like a
that was
wrestler's
real?
dad. I was like, okay, I didn't know.
No,
What?
it was. Well, I don't know if the kicks and punches and stuff may have been real, but yeah, that was like all.
I
an
think what
angle
they
of
said.
it.
I heard that the guy he beat up
Yeah.
was like a wrestler's dad or something. So like it kind of worked with some kind of storyline. So that's what made me, I guess, assume it was fake after that. But when I saw it for the first time, I was like, oh, he's at it again. You know, like just being Del Rio. But that's why I was like, there's no way they're gonna bring him in.
Well, the thing that made me think that wasn't legitimate, that was just an angle, like Wes was saying, is that after he's like kicking the shit out of that guy, there's like a guy like behind him laughing, and just like, and they're not really doing anything to try to even stop him at any point. So like, I just feel like that was a work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Justin Smith here, who really wants Del
I
Rio
don't.
back anyway.
No way.
To me, the only way that they could do that is if they went back to like the original Alberto Del Rio and brought back the ring announcer guy.
I just don't
with
like him as. I
and-
just don't like him as a person. I don't think he deserves to be there. I think he's burned too many bridges, acted a fool, and I think he deserves to not be paid.
Did
for
you
that shit.
were you, did you care for him like as his in ring? I always thought he was solid in ring.
I never understood the Del Rio.
Vince was
I
always like his biggest supporter. Like in 2011, he won Money in the Bank, the Rumble, he got the title.
I think because they
twice.
wanted a new Eddie, and I think because he was a decent look, he was a good looking guy. I think that they kind of wanted somebody to like draw the crowd when they go to like Mexico and stuff, kind of like Eddie would. And I think that Vince just saw, hey, it's a good looking guy, he's in good shape. You know, people like him, and you know he's well known. I think they just tried to push him to a point where I just think it was too much too soon. And then I think everything that happened with the Paige stuff and all that stuff like really soured me on him a lot. Because like she was at the top of her game, and he really did like pull her way down with like drugs and all that
Well,
shit.
it seems like with her though, man, like it's like all of her relationships end up bad one way or another. Like the last one she's had.
Yeah, I don't know if you can blame. Yeah, because like she's probably nuts too. Like, I mean,
well, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't
let's be
know.
real.
Her and Radke were together for a long time. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't seem like they had a bad fallout, right? Like, they didn't, did they? Like, you didn't hear like drama with them. I don't think.
That guy's a fucking moron piece of shit. Anyway,
you don't like Roddy?
Who?
Ronnie Radke.
Yeah, fuck that guy, man.
I don't even know who that is.
He's a like a
He's a musician.
yeah. He's the lead
Oh.
singer of a band. Yeah.
I got you.
Musician.
He's very well known.
He plays all his fucking music from a laptop at his concert. So I don't. I don't. Yeah, I don't. That's
Yeah,
not.
I can't.
real
I can't get into concerts like that where they're like. I've been forced to go to a couple with my brother-in-law because he likes a lot of those like newer hip like. What was the fucking band? I think I've seen them twice, and I can't never remember their name, but they're crazy popular. 21 Pilots, I think, was the band or whatever. And you got a fucking like machine player in the band.
Yeah.
Like it's a little box. Come on.
I don't
Come on.
get
What?
it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that ain't for me. That's not. I'm not the target audience for that shit.
Yeah. But the kids love them.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why, but tonight, Money in the Bank, boys, tell us what you think, because this is always like one of my more highly anticipated events. I always like these shows, the matches and the Money in the Bank matches and all that, and where they may be going in the future. So I guess we'll go ahead and get into it. There's not a whole lot of matches on this. They did do earlier in the day. It started at 3 o'clock, I think, was the AAA show, which I think it was about 2.5 hours there.
Yeah.
Was that in a different arena or?
Yep. It was a smaller. It was just like right down the road, I think, from
Okay.
that one they had Money in the Bank in. And I know that Mark said that he watched it today. Did you say you watched it all, Wes?
I watched most of it. I think there was a couple of matches left, but yeah, I kind of
I thought it was great.
But yeah, the whole vibe of the show and the look of the arena and everything, I really dug, and the matches. The ones that I saw were all great. I watched up until I wanted to see Stephanie Vaquer. That's basically like, and after her match, I was
Or Lola Vice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That show was only missing one thing though, I thought, and that's Mike Tenay. If they could have brought Mike Tenay in for that, that would have been amazing.
I thought so too. I think like Conan, it was good to hear him on there. It's Conan and Corey Graves, but if they would have added Mike Tenay as the third guy, that would have been killer.
Yep. So they did announce that Triple H made Conan, and I don't know if you remember him from TNA or not, Jeremy Borash. So Conan and Jeremy Borash are the head creative team for AAA now. So that's going to be interesting.
Wasn't he already like working with WWE? Jeremy
Borash?
Wasn't he doing stuff with him?
Yeah,
I never know. Like, man,
he
he's
was
been all
on
over
that-
the place.
He was on that LFG show doing some stuff, and I think he was doing like backstage stuff.
He's the one that started Dark Side of the Ring, if I'm not mistaken.
Funny stories like Jeremy Borash and it might have been, no, it's one of, I think it was one of the very, very early wrestling radio shows. I think they did them out of online. Where's he from, Prater? Like Minnesota or somewhere like that?
Jeremy Borash? I
Yeah.
thought he was from somewhere in Tennessee.
No, he's from but anyway, it was like briefly before, he did WCW Live, which was like an online radio show. And that's where they found him because he had the very first, we're talking about probably 97, 98. This was a like terrestrial radio show, but it was also broadcast online. And yeah, it's probably one of the first that I can remember. I mean, that one and live audio wrestling, I think. So definitely, I don't think enough people put Jeremy Borash over and how long he's been.
I agree.
He's been in wrestling,
Like, that's a dude, like, I've always remember seeing his name in a lot of, like, he would do articles for Pro Wrestling Illustrated as well, if I'm not mistaken. And then, like, he's just a guy that's just been involved with the business for so many years now that is just a true fan within the business. Because I can remember, like, shortly before WWE was planning the ECW One Night Stand event in 2005, he was working on this project where he did this documentary called Forever Hardcore, where it just kind of like goes over the history of ECW. And then, following that, they put together their this independent event, kind of like ECW One Night Stand with the ECW guys, called Hardcore Homecoming.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
so that happened.
I
That happened
remember
around
those.
the same time. And I got a shirt back here somewhere. If I can find it, I was going to show you guys. This is like from that Hardcore Homecoming event because they
Nice.
had it's Shane Douglas, Sabu, and Terry
Yep.
Funk.
Yeah,
And it's I don't know if you can see good up, but it's signed by all three guys.
Oh, that's
That's
sick.
awesome.
And on the back, it's got like the match that started it all, February 5th, 1994. So yeah,
Didn't
I'm
they
a
do a part
hardcore.
2?
They did. They did Hardcore Homecoming, and then they did one later in that year in November called Hardcore Homecoming November Rain.
Oh, okay.
yeah. I think I've got them on. Didn't Walmart used to carry
Yeah,
the DVDs
I
and
I have like a
stuff?
box set, I think,
Yeah.
of a bunch
Yeah,
of
they
them.
bundled them. I was just going to mention
Okay,
that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
do have that. Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Jeremy Borash for sure, man.
But yeah, I remember. I think it was like the show was like Wrestling Talk Live or something like that, and it was in Minnesota. I looked it up.
Okay.
Mick Karsh was his co-host, who was like like a local Minnesota wrestling announcer or something way back in the day. So I think it was like '97 is when. Think of that, '97 for an online radio, like wrestling
Almost
radio
30
show.
years ago, man.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
insane. But tonight was a fun show. I guess they're starting all these shows now at 7, kind of earlier, and ending them earlier. What do you guys think of that?
I'm okay with
I don't
it.
mind it, I guess. I don't mind the ending earlier. I just didn't I put it on thinking I was gonna get like a pre-show and the women were starting to come out. Was that the first match?
It was, yeah, the
Yeah, so
women's
I
Money
ended
in the
up
Bank.
watching the whole thing, but yeah, I missed like the first couple come out and I was like, holy shit, it's already starting. So
Well, one
kinda
thing
just
that I
snuck up on me.
noticed, and what do you guys think of this too? The intros and stuff are crazy long now. Like it's noticeably long for every
I didn't-
person.
I didn't notice.
I have felt it to me. I'm like, goddamn.
I don't know. I didn't really pay much attention to that either.
I didn't either.
Well, I must be the odd man out because I was like, Jesus Christ, like it's a long entrance for everybody.
Well, I know that Logan Paul's. Well, we'll talk about that later, but yeah, his was kind of pretty long entrance tonight.
So anyway, we'll kick it off though. It started off Money in the Bank ladder match. The women: Rhea Ripley, Stephanie Vaquer, Roxanne Perez, Naomi, Julia, and Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss didn't fit in this match. Like I don't know why they couldn't find somebody else, because you know that she's not going to be taking a lot either. Although there was a couple of bumps that were pretty. Like I was surprised that she did them. But like, don't you think that she was definitely? Well, Naomi too, kind of. It's almost like they didn't fit because there's a very, very deep women's roster there now.
That's what I noticed when I watched this match. I was like, holy shit, like they have like such a strong division. Like all those new girls that are coming up, unbelievable, man. Like I'm like this like the division is solid. I mean, you gotta look, you didn't even have half the division in there. Like we were talking earlier, me and Crater when we got on, like there was no Chelsea Green who's really good. Like I mean, there was no Charlotte, there's no Naomi. I mean, there was no Bianca. Like I mean, there was just to look at the array of that division, you're like, holy shit, with these new girls coming up, like this is a solid division. Like all those girls that were in this match, like this could have maybe been the best Money in the Bank female match I think I've ever seen.
Well, I think that the entire women's division right now in the WWE is the best that it's ever been. As far as all the talent that they have that's in there right now on the main roster, the ones that's in NXT, the ones that are getting ready to come into the roster, potentially, some of the women that will have in AAA maybe come over to the WWE. I just think it's the hottest that the women's division has been in a long time for WWE. Now, when you talk about Alexa Bliss, like I think we should have replaced her with Chelsea Green. I think Wes is right on that, like because she was Alexa Bliss was kind of out of place in this. Because I really don't know what they're doing with her right now.
I don't think they know what they're doing with her.
No,
And
they don't.
let me one up you though, man. I think that the women's division right now is the hottest that it's ever been. I don't know if there's a time in history where they've got that many that are that great.
I mean, yeah.
And
Some of the stuff they did in this match, like they couldn't. You look back on the years, and I'm like, I don't think anybody else could have pulled it off as clean without people like like cringing that someone's gonna break their neck because all this crazy shit they were doing in here, like even the other one there, Prodigy or whatever her name is there, like
Roxanne Perez.
yeah, like you wouldn't expect her to be as good as she is. I feel like
What is she, like
she's
21
doing
years old or something
She's
like
awesome,
Yeah,
dude.
she's pretty.
I know, but
That's
she's so good.
insane.
Like, what's her backstory? Is she homegrown or is she someone
She's
that was around?
that? Mega
She's-
fan, I think, for many years, and like
Yeah.
started wrestling when she was like 15, I think.
Mhm,
But she's
so
not like she's not a name like Julia or a Stephanie Vaquer, right? She was someone that WWE kind of built,
Right.
correct?
Well,
Right.
she was wrestling down in Texas in Booker T's promotion. I think it's called RCW or whatever. So that's kind of how they found her, was through Booker T. And yeah, so I mean, she wasn't exactly homegrown as like some of these people that just come into the performance center. And
Yeah, where
the
they just
community
sign
and all
like
that.
yeah, like Tiffany Stratton. They just signed. She did never wrestle
Her and
before.
Bianca, I
Right.
think, were two homegrowns. Bianca
Mhm.
Belair and Tiffany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Boy.
like the few like what are those contracts called where they just hire the athletes as like a college
ID or
athletes or
whatever.
something like that? Yeah,
That
So
new
it was like
program,
10%. They're part of that 10% that actually got through it. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fantastic match. I thought
Mhm.
everybody did great. I don't know. I didn't really see many botches at all. And usually in a match like this, you do see a lot of botches with the women. But I feel like everything felt pretty clean. These women are tough. That Vaquer is going to be a huge star. I mean, it doesn't
Oh,
matter
yeah.
if she loses or whatever right now.
she already is. Like,
She's
Yeah,
gonna
she already
be
is,
she's
man.
gonna be a top dog for a long time. Like when her and Rhea are in there together, you're like, okay, this is a Mania match right here. Like this
Yeah.
is these two
Here-
are gonna like run this company.
and it's not even like all that she does in the ring too, which is amazing. She just has a look and a presence and that it factor when you see her out there. She looks like a freaking star. you
Hell
know?
yeah. And like
Um,
I think I enjoyed the women's Money in the Bank match tonight more than I did the men's.
Oh,
Money in the
I
Bank
did.
match.
100%.
And there was just a lot of really cool spots in this match. And speaking of Stephanie Vaquer, that whole spot she did with Rhea, where she did the Devil's Kiss on top of the ladder, that was fucking amazing. I loved that.
Yeah.
And it's like she gets it, right? Like that's something that like that's being up there and doing that, like right in that front in that camera angle and stuff. I mean, that's
Mhm.
like a WWE dream because that's like a footage they could use like later, down the road or whatever for
Hell
like
yeah.
promos or whatever. It was just a whole good spot. It was basically like a big highlight. But I mean, I was super impressed. Like I've watched her, but I didn't know her really before she came into like NXT and stuff. And they said this was her third match in 24 hours, which is even
Yeah.
more crazy. to think
Yeah, she had one match earlier today, a tag match with
Lola Vice.
Lola Vice and that old bitch, and what was the other girl's name? I can't remember.
I don't remember those other dudes' names, to be honest with you.
Daylise or something like that. She was this old Mexican woman that did kind of even look like a man in the face, to be honest. I think she was a woman.
Yeah, we're still not sure.
No, I was like, I mean, she's got the body of a woman, but yeah, she's.
I'm just curious, who was you guys like picked to win? Because I would have not guessed Naomi was getting that briefcase at all.
Me
I like how
either.
the match went down, but like, what do you guys see with her? Like,
I
going in the
I
future?
thought it was like in my head, I'm like, oh, they're gonna give it to Rhea, so then she can just go right for the belt again. But then I was like, well, Rhea doesn't really need that case,
No.
So I was like, maybe Roxanne, maybe I thought
Yeah,
give
that
her
was my
something to
pick,
do with
too.
it.
Yeah.
What
I
I
didn't think
think,
Julia or Stephanie needed it either. I thought they were like they'll be fine doing their thing, but
Yeah, I thought Roxanne for sure because I'm like,
Yep.
what an angle. She takes it home to the Judgment Day, rubs it in Liv's face. It's a whole dynamic there, Like,
Actually,
I was
that
thinking
would've
that
about as
same
well.
thing, man.
I
thought
wasn't
I'm-
thinking of that at all, and I think that would have been a
Yeah.
really cool thing. To be honest with you, I wasn't even thinking of that.
maybe they're thinking though that Naomi is the character that kind of needs it because she don't really have anything right now, and
That's what I'm thinking.
they like Naomi, and I like Naomi too. I mean, she's not the best in the ring or anything, but I think what she's got with her character is probably the most interesting that she's ever been. So
Yeah,
but that
I mean,
was
we talked about
surprising.
that before the show too. Like, if you watch the post show, they interviewed her, and basically Big E was like, "Do you realize this is your best run, and this is like
Yeah.
year 16?" Like, which is kind of refreshing to see that they're giving people that far into their careers like resurgence, right? Like she's getting a second run, 16 years in, which it's nice because if people
Has
can
she
still
been
go,
there
they can
that
compete.
long?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Remember the whole Brodus Clay
All
thing? That was like, what,
Yeah.
2012? So, yeah, she's been there a
Damn.
while.
But yeah, like Garrett was saying, we were talking about this before the show tonight, and like the whole press conference thing when she's talking, she gets emotional, and I always love seeing stuff like that when they kind of break character a little bit and they get emotional over certain milestones in their career. But like they just really put a lot of emphasis on the idea that where she can cash in for any title, not just the top 2 women's title, but just any women's title. And they right before her segment on the press conference, they were talking to Becky Lynch, and they even asked Becky Lynch about that, about Naomi possibly cashing in on her for the Intercontinental title. So, like, we were talking about how the roster, the women's roster, is so stacked right now. Does Naomi fit that criteria at this point in her career with all these other women who are seen as the top names on the roster? Do we see her as being a legitimate women's top tier women's champion at
I
this
think
point?
she's one that loses that case. Like, I don't think she's going to win the title. I don't think. I mean, unless they build a bigger story with like her and Naomi. I mean, her and Bianca or something. I just don't see her cashing in and winning. Like, I think it's going to be there just to kind of have on the back burner, but I just don't see her fitting
So,
in.
like a failed cash in, or
Yeah,
like
like I don't
losing it to
see her
Jade,
fitting
or-
into what their plan is at the end of the day. But I was talking to some people online, and I said, for me, like I always go back because I have like a little bit of an issue with this wrestler here. Like, if Sasha Banks called WWE and been like, "Hey, I'm ready to come back," at this point with all this talent, I'd be like, "Fuck no!" Like, just stay
fuck
somewhere
her
else.
too.
I always think because every time I laugh to myself because every time Bailey doesn't get on TV, she's like, "Call me," and she's got the money symbols on Twitter
Yeah.
or whatever to like.
Man.
And I was waiting for her to post like, "Cash in on me, Naomi," with like dollar signs or something, But I'm like, I just don't even think they don't need her anymore. Like, Becky's great, I love Becky, but like they don't even need Becky anymore, really.
Not really. Or
It's
Charlotte.
like that's how deep that the roster is.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, they don't have Charlotte anymore, really. I mean, she's there technically, but they don't use her.
that's what I'm saying though. Like someone like Mercedes or whatever is like, I'm gonna go here and make all this money, then I'll come back when I'm ready. Like, dude, don't even bother, really. Like, you're not gonna be anything.
Nobody cares at this point. I mean, fuck her. She's a bitch, man. And like she's the only reason she's in this is because her claim to fame was she's Snoop Dogg's cousin. And I mean,
But she thinks
like-
she's bigger than she is, and I think
Yeah, I
that
can't stand
she
her.
spoke
Well,
that to Tony Khan too. I think that
Part
was her-
of it is
that was
too.
her
It's
sales
like
pitch.
WWE. How great were they at like hiding her weaknesses? And
100%.
immediately when she was, when they gave her all that mic time in AEW, it's like, wow, the hell.
It's still like that. I saw a clip of her the other day out there screaming and
terrible.
yelling, and I was like, ugh. Like, she's
It-
got like 10
I mean, it's
belts and
very,
shit.
like-
I'm like, what the fuck?
I hate using this term, but it's very cringy to me.
It is cringy.
Yeah, I mean,
Did you see when?
watch
You
Speaking
got the
of
woke
AEW,
creepy Kentucky. Come on now, boys.
Did you see when Ospreay said the company sucked?
oh yeah, I was just talking about that with my brother-in-law today.
What
I was
the
like,
fuck? As soon
I'm
as
like,
he said it,
dude.
he was like this, and like,
Yeah.
I have a buddy
Oh,
who watches
shit.
it, and he's like, Ospreay's good dude, but he needs to just shut up. He's becoming like too preachy and shit
what
now. And
was
it's
it
like,
he said? He said the only
like-
reason
he was like in the ring
because Moxley's the world champion. And then
You're
you
the
see his
champ.
face, he's like, oh shit, what the fuck did I just
Well,
say?
most people couldn't understand him though. So
like, there's
there's
nobody
that.
here. This is you being the champion is one of the reasons AEW sucks right now. Like, it's like,
yeah.
well, the ratings are so low.
I was
Nobody's
like-
here.
Because I watched that the other night. That was on Dynamite the other night, and I was like, "Holy shit!" He did not just say that. I was like, he definitely fucked up there.
Imagine like bashing the company you work for on live television, basically. Like that.
On their main show, yeah, too.
Yeah. This is why
Yeah.
everybody makes fun of us.
Oh,
I was
hell.
like, holy shit. But yeah, I was heavily impressed watching these women going at it tonight, because you never know what to expect with a Money in the Bank type of thing with all these ladders and whatnot. And I think that they just did fantastic. Like,
Yeah,
all of them.
it,
All of them.
it was very well choreographed. I thought.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. It was interesting though with Naomi. Like that definitely surprised a lot of people, and nobody can lie and say they saw it coming, because
Hell
that,
no.
that was a
Well,
surprise.
if she didn't win, she would have went on Twitter or whatever and wrote give Naomi a chance or something. That's usually what happens when like she doesn't win.
Mark did say something that kind of like sparked an idea in my head about how like it may be a failed cash in with her. So I think they're going to continue that storyline with her and Jade. So do you think she cashes in and Jade causes her to fail the cash in?
Could be.
You got to remember though, they have two different women's champions too. So
Yeah.
you know, I could see her cash in and winning it,
or her losing the briefcase to Jade. Because they've done that in the past where they put the briefcase on the line.
She beat Jade last time, right?
Well, in that qualifying triple threat match, but like not
who won at Mania though.
Jade.
Oh wait, that's right. They did have a match at Mania. I already forgot about that.
I think Jade won pretty handedly, right? I think it was almost like a squash match.
Okay, because I was gonna say maybe she gets it and that's who Jade beats for the belt. I don't know, but to get her win back, but I guess not. I guess she already kind of did.
Is Jade ready for the belt though? Really? No. I mean, she's got a fantastic look. Nobody's going to deny that. But geez, she's not very.
I'm curious to see because I don't watch SmackDown. I'm home to watch it, but they said it's Jade and Charlotte are feuding now. Is that right?
Charlotte, I don't know, man. Like,
no, I don't think Charlotte's been on the show. Has she really?
Last time I seen Charlotte on there, it was like some backstage segment with her and Alexa Bliss. That's from what I remember.
I was curious to see, like, would her and Charlotte help Jade, or would that hurt Jade? Right? Because I don't know. Charlotte's great, but like, is Charlotte good to get her over, or is it going to become like Charlotte gets really aggravated that she's still green?
You got to get Jade ready at some point, though. Like, you can't just have her, you know what I mean, on the side. Like, otherwise, what the hell you sign her for?
I know. I don't think she's ready though. Still, dude.
I agree. I agree,
but they got to do something.
I like her for what she is right now in the company, but I'm not like 100% behind her, if that makes sense. To where she needs to be on a higher level of status in the company.
But do you think that they should play her strengths in the sense that, like, I hate using this term, but like almost like Diesel, where it's like she doesn't need to be a good worker like everybody else. Like, she can just use her power, do a couple moves, look intimidating, dominant, and like we can say, okay, that's why she's the champion, right? Like, for her to go in there and try to like wrestle toe to toe with Charlotte, I think that's going to expose her so much.
Sort of like Ronda's early run, like how they tried.
Yeah, like something where she's just can get over because she's big and she has power moves and she only has a small set and lets everybody else kind of help her get over. Like, I don't know, you could say Ultimate Warrior or whatever, but I just don't think her going in there and try to work with a lot of these girls that were in the Money in the Bank is going to benefit her at all. I think it's going to hurt her because they're going to run circles around her and she's going to start making mistakes. When the shit gets too fast, that's when she starts botching.
It's funny that her name is Jade because she's still pretty green.
You know something else too, man, that's they need to do away with it. I'm sick of this shit. Like, what is it? Is it Storm from the comic books and stuff that she's trying to? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
God damn it! Go away from that shit. Like, I'm sick of that. Like, the cosplay is
to get a job in Marvel.
Cosplay is one thing, but Jesus Christ, you're doing it every show with the silver hair and the thunder and the lightning and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it.
That's their gimmick, man. They need something.
Well, Marvel needs to sue WWE and be like, "Hey, seriously."
Surprised they didn't, to be honest.
So, this next match was thrown together real quick. We mentioned it before at the Worlds Collide show earlier in the day. And man, they could have definitely, I don't know who booked that shit. I know it was probably last minute, but the way that they put that match together was fucking awful. They could have done it way better than what they did.
Yeah, but I think that it needed to happen because with Dom is a big draw right now, I think, for a lot of people in the WWE. And, he's not been featured here a lot since winning the Intercontinental Championship. So they need to put him on there somewhere. And I think that they did it perfectly with this situation with AAA because those guys are kind of more on his level to where it looks like he's the one that's intimidating next to these smaller guys that are wrestling in AAA. So I think it's, I thought that was kind of genius to do that because when they put him against these other guys that's on the main roster in WWE, he's just going to look, really small next to those guys. So
I agree, and I also think too he's so over that it's hard to put him in a feud with somebody because then that you got to worry about the person he's with, right? Because if they're not, if he's not feuding with somebody like Balor and he's feuding with like a big time baby face, then that could really hurt the other guy. So I think it is a tricky situation because you're like Dom is a heel, but he's still so over. Like, how do we make this work? So I do think him kind of picking off a lot of these AAA guys for a little bit will just keep him relevant. And it'll get these other guys featured, keep him relevant, and he won't have to worry about that other shit. And you know what else I noticed today is like I was watching him and Liv in there, and she looks great, by the way. This is the best I think she's ever looked. Like, but how good is he that like to me when he got with Liv, I was like, okay, cool. But I was like, Dom and Rhea was where it's at. Like to me, it was always like Dom and Rhea was like the thing, mommy and all that stuff. But watching him and Liv, I'm like, this is just as big now, I feel like, as him and Rhea. And the fact that you can go in there with two different managers or women or whatever and make it feel exactly the same, you don't see that a lot. We kind of saw that with Savage. I feel like Sherry was pretty big for him. Like, I don't look at him and Elizabeth and him and Sherry and be like, oh, this one was way better. But maybe it was because I got into wrestling like right when he got Sherry. So I was there for more Sherry Martel than I was for the Elizabeth run. But I don't know. I just feel like he Liv and Dom are just as big of a unit as Liv and Rhea are now. And it shows a lot for him as a worker and a character.
What a great gimmick to have, too. I'm sure he loves that. Is he going to go on to Roxanne Perez next?
Exactly. He's got Roxanne right there. I mean, he's living the Latino heat thing without putting it over.
I mean, that guy is pulling more tail than I've ever seen anyone pull.
He's married too. His wife has got to be like, what the fuck? Like, seriously.
You saw them kiss on the thing, right?
Yeah, the Netflix event thing. Yeah. And I think I mentioned this to you guys in our group chat on Facebook a while back, but I think it would be hilarious with all this kind of like thing they're doing with Dom, where he went from Rhea to Liv, and now it looks like he's going maybe with Roxanne. Like, they just kind of like just pull a swerve on us, and they make him like Pimp Daddy Dom, and they just have just all of them just like he just pulls them all in at the same time.
They could. That's how easy it was. I mean, he's so good that I mean they could make one little move to evolve his character even further. I think. It's
a solid match though too. Like Dominic is improving in the ring. I think character wise, I don't know if you could get any better than that. Like as far as just what possibly he's still fairly young, but yeah, I mean, originally he was just that pussy heel, and they're kind of moving him more towards like like he's actually getting better in the ring and shit. Are you guys kind of surprised by that, or?
I think he was always pretty good. Like even when he came out with his dad, like when they would do those tag matches, and I thought he looked like shit. I was like, oh. He doesn't have a look. He doesn't have a good look to ever become anything. He was like, it was very generic. And then, when he started to grow the hair out a little bit, he got with Rhea. He kind of had that more attitude look. Like he kind of had that like smug look. And then when he got arrested,
going on.
Like he was even before that though. Like when he got arrested and stuff, and then started doing like the gangster gimmick or whatever, like the convict stuff. Like it really started to work. And when he won that first title, like that NXT title. And he would bounce from shows to shows. Like he would be on NXT defending the title, then he'd show up on Raw and be with the Judgment Day. He was getting way better in the ring, and I think he was even good in the ring when he was with his dad. It was just that he didn't have the look. Where then everything started to come together. And they said that when he was on NXT, the ratings would like outdo AEW, like during his segments, like like he was basically outperforming their whole organization. Just Dominic on his segments on NXT. So I think he was always there. I just think that they had to find a way to like build him up to be credible coming from what he did.
He's one of my favorite top guys right now in the WWE. Like I love his character work. I mean his like you said, his in-ring skill is constantly improving, every time just over time since he started like doing the tag matches with Ray, he has developed himself so much in ring. And I just think with this was whoever came up with this whole gimmick for him that he has right now it is genius because I mean I know they were just kind of playing on the thing with like the Eddie Guerrero comparisons at first, but now it's just kind of become this his own thing to where like it's very unique in this situation, and it kind of panders to the younger generation of fans too, like the whole chicken nuggies thing that he does, and I think it's awesome, man.
He's
Overall,
great. And the Latino heat thing or whatever, like it's Eddie, but like it's starting to feel like it's him too, and it's hard to kind of take that and run with it. And he even still says things like he thinks Eddie's his dad and all this stuff, right? Like it's it just works on all levels, and I don't know what it is. And because he's so good with the character, and because he's so good with the women and stuff, that it can kind of overshadow any in-ring work. Like, I mean, you look at someone like Austin, he was over more after his neck injury, just being on the show, stunning people and not even having to work for X amount of years. So if you can keep him out there, just being entertaining, then he's always going to feel like a top star, even if he only gets in the ring X amount of times a year. I think he's an important part of the company. And I think people really like him, and I'm glad to see
the exposure for sure.
I'm glad to see it amounted to what it did, because when he came out with his dad, I was like, "There's no way this is working. There's no way," and he proved a lot of people wrong.
Yeah, and the match tonight was perfectly. Yeah, they're on AEW's wrestlers.
I can't with that chocolate cookies or whatever the guy says.
I don't even know who the fuck they are.
I don't know who they are.
The Twizzler or something like that was one of them.
Oh, the Rizzler. You're talking about the little kid that does the thing or whatever.
Yeah, they're like a big
I don't know.
draw over in the AEW.
Man, like I hate that shit. It's useless.
Well, it was funny because I remember when, like, I think it was during the Cena turn, they had a side-by-side comparison. They said Cena turns to be like one of the biggest events in wrestling history, and they said, but on the other channel, they showed like what was happening, like when Cena was turning, and it was one of those guys saying like, "We're gonna win tonight because we're wrestling for the double chocolate cookie," and I'm like, "Wait, what the fuck? That's what's going on over here right now?" Like, imagine like having to change the channels, like Cena heel turn or fighting over chocolate chip cookie match.
But yeah, there was a backstage segment. I want to mention this too because it was the All-American stable, Chad Gable and the Creed brothers, and they introduced the Fireball branded ladder, man. They're branding everything now, right?
I hate it.
One other thing I noticed on this too, Chad Gable's ear looked like it was getting ready to explode. Did you guys notice that?
You got that.
Go back. But I guess it was from the match earlier, like he must have got hit in it because it looked like it was ready to pop, man. It looked fucking disgusting.
Well, he's another guy, dude, that
popped that one time.
Chad Gable to me is such an important part to this roster right now. Like, I think what he's doing is like unbelievable. He's great on the mic. I think the size is the only thing that kills him, but he's so shredded and jacked, like, and he's so good in the ring. He's
vascular. Yeah.
Vascular. But I think he's so important to what he's doing now with the double character and stuff. Like, I love everything Gable's doing. My only issue is watching this segment, and I haven't really been paying too much attention, so maybe you're like, oh, it's been like that for a while. Those Creed guys have really been watered down a lot. Like, they kind of came in as like these kind of badass Steiner brother type guys, and now they're like Bebop and Rocksteady. Like, it doesn't like it's kind of like they're too bumbling.
They're not even at that level yet, I don't think.
But so I'm like looking at that and I'm like, man, like these guys like have really gone downhill. Like, they don't seem like a threat anymore at all. They seem like they're just two like beat up guys, bumbling idiots that like follow Gable around. Like, I don't know what they're doing with them, because when you're watching their expressions and them talking, it was like they were two big idiots. And I'm like, this doesn't work. Like, what the hell happened here?
I think a better comparison to them would be Pauly Shore and Stephen Baldwin from Biodome.
Yeah, but like, what the hell happened? Because they were like a legit tough.
I don't know.
Lost in the shuffle kind of thing.
I really don't. I like the girl that's with them. I think she comes off kind of badass, even though she never wins. But I mean, she has a great look and she seems intimidating. But these two guys, I'm like, they could get rid of them tomorrow and it would make no difference now.
Yeah, the one guy looks like fucking, who's the country singer, Morgan Wallen or something like that, with the mustache and the mullet.
Wes is acting like he doesn't know who Morgan Wallen is.
I don't know who the guy is. I've never heard of this person.
Well, you don't want to know.
Well, Garrett,
they don't have him here.
Well, I would say that a couple of the girls that you work with probably know who the hell he is.
Oh, is he a
Sadly
good looking
enough.
guy? They all like him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he sucks.
he's fucking terrible though.
Oh,
But anyway, leads us to talking about fucking terrible. Women's Intercontinental Champion Lyra Valkyra versus Becky Lynch.
Russo.
Baby.
Russo calls her Lyra Velcro.
Lyra Velcro, baby, versus Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental Women's title.
I hate to say it, good worker, but Lyra is not over, dude. She's just not.
Not
She's
at all.
not.
No,
Like she's getting lost with all these other crop of girls they got coming up, and I think she's a good worker, but I'm like, she's not. This spot didn't.
She's
work.
got anti-charisma.
That's not working,
Yeah,
man.
and I think that they're, Triple H and the WWE, I think they're actually finally starting to see that too. I think that everybody saw that coming tonight with Becky going to win the title, because I think with their history between those two, I think Lyra had 2 wins over Becky, and they were just really like laying that in on commentary during that match. That that Lyra had 2 wins over Becky. So I'm like, okay, it's clear that Becky's going to win this match. And I, like you said, I think she's one that really can't get
100% centered back down to NXT.
I agree.
Yeah.
You hate being
Is
a
she a
dick about
failed
it, but it's
experiment?
like, she's just. I think so.
I think that the way that they went about it whenever they brought her up and instantly pushed the shit out of her, and it just wasn't working. Like they
I mean,
didn't.
she won that belt tournament, right? Out of kind of nowhere.
Right, out of nowhere. And then they had the match at Mania, the tag match, and that was kind of out of nowhere too.
Yeah, it's weird, man. It's a really weird storyline between those two.
And the sorceress gimmick's not working for her, man. I'm a fan of Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, yeah.
And I like birds and
bird.
everything,
You hate saying it. I mean,
I like
but
me a bird and I cannot lie, baby.
when you've got a belt and you're the baby face and you come out to 0 reaction, is probably not a good thing. It's probably not.
And that damn theme song where they're trying to get people to woo, woo, woo.
It's not working. It's not
Yeah.
working at all.
No.
I don't understand it, man. But like, I think that they're like I said, they're finally starting to realize that, like, hey, we need to go a different direction with this bitch.
Yeah. So she lost the Women's Intercontinental Championship. The women's do they really need a women's Intercontinental Champion?
No, they really don't.
To me, if they're going to go that route with all these women's titles, why don't they just have a separate women's promotion?
Well,
I could kind of understand it then.
right? That paper.
Yeah.
Evolution 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fun, though. I think it's going to be a fun one. And I
Wonder
think
why they
said
waited
Nikki
so
Bella's
long to
going to
do
be coming
another
back now, so she'll be ready for her. But she's going to get circles ran around her, though.
Yeah,
Who is
and
it?
They got to put her with. They said Nikki Bella's coming back.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
Monday. She's gonna be back on Raw.
Oh, no.
Where the hell
Yeah.
does she fit in anything?
She's
right
not
now?
going to fit
She
anywhere,
doesn't.
really. They're going to have to put her with, like, Naomi or something. Like, I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, she's just gonna leave again and do.
That'll be
OnlyFans.
like that time that they brought superstar Billy Graham back to wrestle in like the 80s. Like it just ain't gonna.
Body gimmick?
Yeah, I remember they brought him back and he couldn't do anything at all. Like his body
Who
was
was it
shot.
again?
Billy Graham in like the mid 80s.
Yeah, that was really weird because I think they're like, oh shit.
It was like one of the very brief moments back in the day. Like there's a couple of them, like when Honky Tonk Man was a fucking baby face. We're like, God damn it, did that actually happen when they first brought him in? And it did for like a week or two. And the same thing
He
with
came in as a face?
he did. You're gonna have
I
to
don't remember that.
I barely remember that.
look that up, man, because like
It
Hulk
was-
Hogan
yeah.
put him over and everything.
It
This is
was
my
like-
brother, the Honky Tonk Man, dude.
He looks like Elvis, dude.
It didn't last long at all before it's like,
No.
okay.
But the same thing happened like in the what was it, 86, 87, whenever they brought superstar Billy Graham back and he eventually got with like Morocco as his manager. But it was before that they tried to make him like a wrestler again and he
And
couldn't do
that
it.
and just nobody cared either. I mean, you could tell, like, if you go back and you watch those matches and in that around that era, just the fans just don't really give a shit. that he
Well, it's
was
like Bob
back.
Backlund when they brought him back in like the early
Oh,
90s.
that wasn't
95.
working until he snapped. I mean, that was
Yeah.
terrible when he was just like a regular babyface guy. That was not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Nikki Bella's got to pay child support and stuff now, so I guess that's why she's back.
Isn't that
That's
wild?
true.
That whole thing, like, why is all that? Is there a reason for this? Like, is it just like why does she have to pay
No,
this dude all this money because
well-
she has more?
Details haven't really came out about that. I doubt they will either. 'cause
Well,
that's-
initially, like he got arrested for like domestic violence or something, right? I think,
Yeah.
or
That's what it was,
something
yeah.
like that, I think.
but there's
yeah.
probably definitely more to the story that
Oh,
I
yeah,
guess
for
they
sure.
probably signed some sort of agreement so it won't come out. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, she's got to pay him.
NDAs or
And
whatever
he's
they're
got.
called.
Does he have the kid? Like primary.
I think so. Like from what I understood, but I mean I don't know 100% on that, but like from what I read about it, yeah, I think he has like custody or whatever. That's why she's having to pay all this child support and stuff. I guess.
Cool. So
But that's none of my business.
continuing on, yeah, Nikki Bella's got to make some money for her ex honey, I guess. Yeah, Becky Lynch defeated Lyra Valkyria, baby.
It's a forgettable
And-
match.
The stipulation, of course, and this reminded me of something. This is like something from the damn 80s, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it
yeah,
was.
that's what
I
I
was like,
thought.
this is for real. Like, raise my damn hand.
she does that. She's like, put the belt on me now, bitch. Come on.
And then she's
Right.
done. They're like, no, you got to do it on all four sides. Like, I'm like, what the hell?
That was
Now
the
this way.
stipulation too. If you watch like that last interaction, I think it was on Raw. Like if Becky, it was agreed that if Becky beat her, then Lyra had to raise her
Yeah.
hand.
She's like, no, I'm not going to do it, Becky. No.
But if Becky lost, she couldn't challenge for the title, right?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which why does Becky
Stipulation.
give a shit
What
anyway?
a stupid fucking
Yeah.
stipulation, anyway. Like, why would you even do it? Like, who cares?
I mean, was that a good stipulation? You just won the belt, and you're like, raise my hand. Like, who
you
cares?
gotta
Who
raise
cares
my
what about-
hand, bitch.
It,
Come
yeah,
on.
It's like so stupid.
Just-
it makes no
It,
sense.
it killed her pride, I guess. I don't know.
If
So I don't
anything,
know.
Next
Like,
up-
I,
just
I don't know what you
Go
do with this chick. No, from here, I don't know if there's one more rematch with them two at Evolution, maybe, and that's
God, I
it.
hope not.
I don't think so. I think
don't
it's
wanna see
over.
any more of
that
this.
should have been the
But she
stipulation. if
beat her up
lost.
at the end with the suplexes. They're just going to leave that as is.
Yeah,
Becky's
fuck
not going
it.
to. It is. I don't know.
I'll tell you what I would do. Here's what I would do. If you're going to end it, right, and this will give Lyra a new kind of gimmick almost, right? Do a hair versus hair match,
Oh, yeah.
right?
You know,
And
it's
Lyra loses and she just fucking goes crazy. She's a new crazy ass bitch or whatever.
I mean,
right?
it would be more over than what she is now, unless they
Yeah,
put
they
her
don't
in
have
the
a
egg.
nut anymore.
They should put her in the egg and like have it hatch and
Holy
she'd be like
shit.
another bird.
That would be
There's an
killer.
egg here. It's gonna hatch at Evolution. She comes out with the wings,
Oh God, I would love that actually.
and then you hear like, "You got legs like my mother-in-law, pal." You'll hear that.
The men's Money in the Bank match. So this was like a good hour straight, right? This is like an hour-long match, I think. Seth Rollins versus Penta versus El Grande Americano versus Solo Sequoia versus Andrade versus LA Knight. Try staying at 5
Why
times
is
fast.
Andrade there, dude?
Why is
He
LA
is
Knight
another
there
one.
too?
He is not over, dude. He's done.
Not at all.
Over. Like
Yeah.
there's no. He's done.
No
Like
reaction.
he came out to like
out.
crickets, dude. I'm like, why
Yeah.
is he even in this match? The guy is like, he's got no pop at all.
I don't know.
He-
Maybe
No
they
build
felt hard.
either. They didn't really build anything with him at
They-
all, did they?
No.
What's going to be the best thing
I-
for him? AAA now? Like, what is he going to do? I don't think he's. It's
That's
all
where
over.
he'd be most valuable as Triple
Probably.
H.
Yeah, I agree.
I would, because this tonight, I mean, having him in there was almost like a waste of time. Like they could have put anybody of any kind of star power in
I
there.
was
and it would've
hoping
been-
Carrie and Cross would have.
I
got
mean,
in there.
100%. I hope to God that they resign this guy and push him, because it seems to me that they're building to something bigger, maybe like a stable with like him, like in like evil AJ and evil Sammy or something crazy. But they're
I don't
saying
know, man.
online that they don't think that he's going to resign. So I don't know what the hell's going on with this dude. They said his shirt's
Well-
like selling out all over the place. So
Did you see his new video he just put out? I think it was today or maybe yesterday. So he did this video yesterday or whatever it was. I just saw the video today, but he was talking about how a lot of fans have been coming up to him like outside of shows and like, hey, can we get your T-shirt? And he's like, oh well, he said he always sends people just to go to WWEshop.com or whatever.
I saw that.
And he's like, well, we want to get it now. We want to get it while we're here. And so he said he kind of like, gave that information to the office. And like now they're starting to put his shirts like on the merch stand at shows and live events. And he didn't give any kind of, like hints that he's leaving the company or he's not going to resign or anything. And I really hope that, if that's the case, if his contract is coming up, I hope he does resign because I think that there's a lot of potential with that character. The fan base is really starting to get behind him.
He's getting good reactions. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And, just the thing that they did last Monday between him and Sammy backstage, I think there's more to that as well coming.
He got a pop on that. That's just a backstage segment.
Yeah,
that's all he's been doing, but I think it could be building to something. He's been doing stuff like that with AJ, where he's trying to like bring the evil out of them. Like you don't have to try to be goody anymore. And I hope that like you don't want to say like the what's the not like right to censor or the what's the Undertaker stable where he got like the acolytes and all. Like I don't know if I want to get to that point, but I mean. Yeah, but to almost kind of have him brainwashing these bigger characters that are kind of at the tail end of their career might be a pretty cool thing to give them like the different look, like this evil culty type.
Yeah, that's really what it reminds me of because like I don't know if you remember back in like the late '80s, early '90s, Kevin Sullivan kind of had like this cult stable gimmick and like where he was kind of like converting all these people like this, Satanism and shit like that, and it just. That feels like what they're doing with Karrion Kross. And I know that he has credited a lot of his like influence from Kevin Sullivan. So I think because his real name is Kevin something like. But
I think that he is already re-signed, or they're pretty confident that he's going to re-sign because he's not going to. They're not going to leave him on TV, even in these brief spots. Yeah, it almost seemed like significant spots too, like with Sami Zayn and everything.
Yeah,
and let him go on like somebody else's show in a month or two or whatever.
Yeah, and like Garrett said, like he did the stuff with the AJ stuff, but I think they really kind of just dropped the AJ stuff because AJ's kind of doing something right now with I think Judgment Day or whatever. But I think the Sammy stuff has really kind of went on for a while now, and I think that's what they're going to focus on now if they do continue that. And with that match coming up on Monday between Gunther and Jey Uso, we could see something develop with that, as soon as Monday.
I hope so. He needs something.
I hope he sticks around. Yeah, I see a lot in him. I see somebody. What's up, Ring? He said he hopes the Righteous sign. It's funny that you say that because it's a possibility. I don't know if I've talked about this before, but I'm friends with Vincent. Pretty good friends. He was on my show and stuff before he went to AEW. And he actually kind of told me he was going to be in Wyatt 6 with Bray, and they squashed it. Bray got sick, and then he was at NXT, like doing stuff there, like behind the scenes and stuff, like getting ready. And once the Bray got sick, they totally squashed it, and then Vince never signed him. So that's why they went over to AEW.
I remember reading about that. Yeah.
They just left AEW, so I don't know if there is plans to do something with these guys and maybe bring in Karrion Kross and them into the mix. I don't know.
Though, I think it's important, though. Like,
Karrion Kross needs something like a stable of some kind.
I don't think so. The reason I wouldn't do it is because they just did away with that fucking, like, what was that?
Those guys,
they were
those
awful.
Guys didn't work, though. AOP, like, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So that's why I wouldn't do another stable this quick, though. I would give it.
I would leave him on his own, man.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that devil's advocate type gimmick,
Or at least they can go back to that entrance that he had with Scarlett or something, back in NXT.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
That's my nephew's favorite wrestler right now, too.
Who's Karrion Kross?
Yeah, my nephew. That's his, like, because my nephew, he just turned 7 the other day, and he just got into wrestling almost a year ago. And usually when it first started out, like his favorite wrestler would change like every day, but for past few months now, it's been Karrion Kross. And I'm like, how's he your favorite wrestler? He's barely on TV.
He's watching him on Main Event.
Yeah, it has to be or something like that. He's always on YouTube watching that shit.
There was a lot of plunder though in this match, of course, and usually they don't have like as many interferences in these Money in the Bank matches, but they were all over this show. You had Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and all those guys come out and interfered first, and that led to the Bloodline guys getting in there, and ultimately, like, and it almost seemed like this was kind of thrown together pretty quick too. Jacob Fatu in the solo turn.
I think everybody saw that coming too.
But what
I
do
just,
you do now?
I thought it was too quick though. I thought that
What
they
do you-
could have. Yeah.
What does Solo do now?
He's
done?
still got JC Mateo.
Yeah, try to pick
Well,
up
but-
pieces of the bloodline.
but-
They're
Oh,
going to
so-
have that
so-
match though, probably the next pay per view.
Yeah.
Those two.
I was hoping that they were going for Braun versus Fatu. Did you, Crater? I'm sure you watched SmackDown, right? That
Yeah, oh,
face
yeah.
off that they had. Dude,
Yeah.
I got chills. I was like, I'm so
Well-
ready for Fatu versus Braun Breaker.
The thing is, I knew that was coming, like that moment tonight in on Money in the Bank where Fatu he turned on Solo finally because they rehashed like this segment on SmackDown last night back from the Evolution days. So do you remember when like Batista was getting ready to turn face and like there's a segment backstage where it's like Triple H and Ric Flair, they're like in the locker room talking like, and Triple H is talking shit about Batista.
Yeah, and he
And
walks
then like
in, he's
they
like,
walk off, and then like in the doorway here walks in Batista. They did the same thing last night on SmackDown with Jacob and Solo and Mateo. So I was like, yeah, he's turning on him tomorrow night. So
You know what? I
I don't
must
know.
have missed something then because I came back down and I saw him beating up Solo. Like I ran upstairs really quick. So what happened to the other guy? Did he turn on him too or no?
Oh,
well, he got speared by Braun Breaker through the barricade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Rhino
They stuck him
Jr..
around. Yeah, but you know what though? Like I actually enjoyed that. Like when I saw Braun and what's the other guy's name again?
Bronson
His-
Reed.
Bronson. I love them as a team, to be honest. Like
Hell yeah, man.
I think that they like those two guys. You don't want to fuck with those two guys. Like they come
Right.
off like real badass dudes, and I like that. So when they're beating the shit out of everybody, like to me, it's like it makes sense. And they're so hard hitting. It's like fun to watch. And then when those other two came out and they got face to face, kind of like Mark said, like I didn't watch SmackDown. So like when I saw those guys in the ring together, I was like, dude, this is pretty sick. Because these are like four badass dudes that are just gonna beat the shit out of each other. And now, unfortunately, there was a breakup there, which I guess is fine, but then it makes me kind of like, oh shit, I guess we're never gonna get that match. We're never gonna get
Right.
Rollins and these two guys versus Solo and then his two guys. We're not going to get that now. But what does Jacob do? Is he a baby face now? Like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
is that
for
his
sure.
thing?
Yeah, 100%.
Well,
Now, do you think that's smart or no?
I
Well,
think
the
it works
crowd-
in a way.
Yeah, the crowd is fully behind him, so I say why not? I mean, there's not much left for him to do with Solo. I mean, other than a feud, even though I don't really want to see that either, but he's got to do something. He's too over to be stuck in the bloodline.
Yeah. Plus, they got like a million other Samoans they can hire to come in there and.
Well, I
fill
only say that
spot.
because, like, if you look at him and you look at, like, let's say they try to end up getting him against Cody or something, like, don't you want him to be, like, this badass savage that, like, you don't think Cody could ever beat? But if he's a babyface, it feels like it kind of dulls that down a little bit.
Well, I think that's why they're doing it, because they want to keep him away from these top baby faces for a while at least.
I got you,
And
yeah.
they just want to kind of, because if they put him against Cody or one of these top baby faces right now, I think it's way too soon. And just like guys like Cody are way over right now. I mean, people love Cody. Just to see Jacob Fatu go over Cody at this point in his career, this early on in the WWE, I don't think it would work out.
And if he loses to Cody, it's going to kind of take him down a little bit on the
Yeah,
credibility level. I
exactly.
got you. Kind of like what happened to Solo, right? Like he was kind of the badass guy,
Right.
and then he just got beat up all the time. And it's like
Mhm.
it's hard to take him serious now. But he did show a little more personality tonight, which I think really helps him a little bit than just kind of being like he was very stale in his personality. And I think he showed a little bit tonight when he was like mocking Penta and all this other stuff. Like it was kind of cool to see that Solo had a little bit of that, because I feel like he just comes off like very deer in headlights.
I don't
you
know,
know,
man.
like-
I get
But
that.
what does
but
he
like,
do now?
that this new personality he's been showing, like it's so weird though. It's such a huge transition.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he was like the
was.
silent assassin there for the bloodline, and now he's almost like a comedic sort of
Yeah,
like.
I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I have to give.
And
it
what
time
about the
again.
other two? Are they done? The yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Where's he? Where's that guy?
Well, one of them got hurt, right?
They,
And was
they
out.
both did. Yeah,
Oh,
both
okay.
are out right. Yeah.
You don't
See, I
think they're
said-
sticking around much longer?
Who knows? You never know. Anything's
They're at a
possible.
point now where they're just
WWE.
making like fake family members, like the Von Erichs, like Mateo or whatever. Like
Well, there's
the
another
long lost
guy.
cousin. Yeah, he's part of the family too. It's Mateo over there.
There's another guy that they just signed. I don't know. He's part of that Samoan family tree somewhere, but he was like in New Japan, a part of the Bullet Club, and I think they just signed him as he's still doing stuff in the Performance Center, so he's not debuted on NXT or anywhere like that.
That's the weird thing, yeah, because like the bloodline thing just kind of died. Like,
Yeah,
it's kind of just. I mean, it was built up so well there for a while, for years, and then it just kind of quietly like just
That's gonna
farted out.
that's gonna have to be his angle going forward. Is that like he's got no real bloodline left? Like that's the only thing they could do with Solo.
I think that's the
basically just kind of
reason.
creates his own bloodline of like not
Yeah,
bloodline.
yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
exactly.
That's what he has to do.
I think that's why they brought in Jeff Cobb, because that's exactly. I think Mark's right in
That
that.
Jeff Cobb dude's not going to last, boys. I tell you, it's
You
going
don't
to.
think so? You don't think?
Yeah,
He's kind of
No
cute,
way.
out there, isn't he?
that's a terrible name they gave him.
Jason
Yeah.
Mateo. That's a fucking like early '90s jobber name. He tag teamed with Dwayne Gill back in the day. But anyway, I think everybody pretty much
From Guam, his bloodline.
expected Seth Rollins
Oh,
to
yeah.
win. I mean, that wasn't really a surprise there because they're definitely hyping that group up.
Well, remember when
Well-
we talked before earlier? You said you thought Andrade was winning, didn't you? Remember, Wes? You said that.
Well, I mean, aside from Andrade, yeah.
You said you bet a bunch of money on Andrade to win.
So
I thought that was a weird ending though. There, like they had like that short little scuffle with L.A. Knight and Seth Rollins, rather than just to me, I would have just had Seth Rollins get in there and climb up and get the belt. Like what the fuck?
Who backstage
Nobody-
doesn't like LA Knight? There's got to be somebody. LA Knight
Nobody
doesn't like
knew.
being like-
Nobody expected L.A. Knight to win that shit. That's why.
No,
like,
but I'm saying in general, like I feel like LA Knight, a guy who was so white hot, like I feel like they did not pull the trigger on that dude.
yeah,
the way he
his
should have been. I don't think he needed to be champion, but I think he could be so much more over. But I feel like there's somebody back there that's like keeping him at bay, like just so
I
he
don't
doesn't get a little
know.
too popular or something.
I
But
don't know who
It's hurting him every single
If it's
week he loses. It's
Bruce
killing him.
Pritchard or Michael Hayes or somebody.
Which is weird because he feels like a guy that they would have loved. He feels very old school, and I think that a lot of those old school guys would have
Well,
appreciated.
At one point, it definitely could have worked. I think that there was, early on when he was getting those huge reactions from the crowd and everything, and they were just. But I think what killed him was the U.S. title. I really think that was like the nail in the coffin, and what the whole situation between him and Nakamura, that back and forth that they had for the title. I think that's really what killed that momentum. And I think, but before that, especially when he had around that time when he had that match against Roman, I think it was at Crown Jewel for the title. That would have been, the perfect time to really make him the guy. But at the time, they just wasn't done with Roman. They still had a lot more story to tell with Roman. So I just think they really missed the boat at this point with LA Knight.
Do you think that they were like, if Cody wasn't here and that wasn't our plan, we would go with LA Knight? But like because
Maybe so.
I mean, it sucks just because it's hard to find people that are naturally over that have a look like that
Right.
just come out of left field and could make you a lot of money. And to not know what the hell to do with him because he's not part of your plan, it sucks. I mean, I feel bad for him, like because he made it work. I mean, he came out as a fucking model manager, dude, and like became one of the most over guys in the company.
Max
Like, I have to
Dupree.
appreciate that. Like, yeah, like I mean, I really appreciate guys. Like, that's why I'm such a huge Cardona fan. It wasn't he didn't come in at Zack Ryder and I'd be like, oh, this guy with the one leg pants is gonna be awesome. I appreciated that he went out of his way to be like, you know what, I'm going to get myself over, even though that's not the plan. Like, it's a hard thing to do in wrestling or anywhere, at work or YouTube, like to try to get yourself to break through.
Oh yeah,
Without a machine
me,
behind you to do it, right? Like, it's not easy. It's
I don't
very
think.
hard.
I think that time has come and gone, though. I don't think that he's. I don't think they can do it now.
That's the thing that's sad is I don't know if you can pick him back up to that status again. Which he's still over, but like he's not that white hot LA Knight he was. And what do you do to get him there if they even want him there at that point?
Yeah,
I just think he wasn't part of the plan, so they kind of kept him.
Well, it was organically there at a point, right? But when that happened, was it Triple H? Was he in charge then, or how long ago was that?
During what time?
Maybe there's an issue with Triple H. I don't know. Maybe Triple H doesn't like that he's more built than him. I have no idea.
Initially, whenever the LA Knight thing got really hot,
I think Vince was still there.
Okay, so like it seems like it's similar to the whole Yeet movement or whatever, right? But they did capitalize on that, whereas this,
it works, man. Like,
I mean, it works for now. Yeah,
I tell you, man. Like it did. I didn't really hit me like how well that works until like I went to Raw in Louisville a few weeks ago and just witnessed that like firsthand in person. The whole. When Jay makes his entrance, dude, it's one of the craziest things I've ever like personally experienced at a show. Like it was so loud in there and everybody was going fucking nuts. I'm like, they've got something here for sure. Like, and they're going to run with this as long as they can. And I love Jay, man. I've been a big fan of him for years. You know, he was my pick, for the Rumble winner earlier this year. Didn't really
Team
expect it to happen, but yeah, man. And I just love what he does in his entrance for these kids. He kind of gives those kids their moment.
That is cool. I like that.
And that's really what it's all about, just from a fan perspective. That those kids are going to be made fans for life. And
Crater, when he saw him in person, he yeeted his pants.
I did all over myself.
I want to say something about Jay because watching this run and seeing him on Raw, and like I feel like I'm like it just, to me, it doesn't feel like it was working. Like watching him in the ring with Gunther doing the promos, I'm like, doesn't feel right. Like he feels like an IC champion. It doesn't feel like he should be the main guy. And even tonight when this started, and you saw Cody come out, he was like, oh, he felt like a star. Jay came down, same thing, but I'm like, Cody just seems like miles above Jay. But then when he got in the ring and like just stood there and the crowd is still going and going, I'm like, fuck, he's still so over though. Like as much as in my head, I'm like, this isn't working as him as the top guy. This was a mistake. This is a transition to get Rollins that belt, but the dude is still over as shit. Like there's not many people that get reactions like that. So I can kind of see why he's here. I think he's always going to be a major player. Maybe not the champion, but it is crazy to see, regardless of how well he's doing in ring or on promos, that he still is over as he is. It's crazy,
man. I'll tell you something. That speaking of the whole Rollins putting him over to get the belt back stuff, I kind of came up with this crazy prediction earlier. I think it's going to happen at SummerSlam. I think this will be a really good way to put the belt on Rollins, especially with everything that's kind of happened here recently between him and Punk. So I think that Jay may possibly lose the belt on Monday to Gunther. If not, sometime around that time, Gunther's going to eventually, I think, get the belt back. And so on Monday, they're starting the King of the Ring tournament. And whoever wins that King of the Ring tournament gets a shot at the champion, of their choice at SummerSlam.
I like that they're doing that again because that always was a great thing. It felt like another Royal Rumble in the sense that you're building up a guy, giving him a new gimmick to get him to that. I always like that. And I'm happy that they're bringing that back. Because it always gave somebody something to do. Like even fucking Mabel went from Mabel to King Mabel, and King Mabel actually felt kind of credible after that whole thing for a bit. Like he was leading up to that thing.
The King of the Ring thing hasn't worked though in a long, long time.
It hasn't. But I don't know if it's like, why do you think? Is it I like tournaments, to be honest with you. I wouldn't mind even if they did the King of the Ring pay-per-view and you could see the same guy wrestle a couple times that night. I kind of miss the old way they did it. I don't like when they do it like week by week kind of thing. I like when the guy has to work like X amount of times per night.
Well, they're going to do the final is going to take place at the next event, which is Night of Champions. And I really think that Punk is going to win the tournament. And the reason I say that is because I think if they do put the belt back on Gunther, whether it be this Monday or whenever, even if it's at Night of Champions, I think Gunther's going to be the guy that's going to take the belt off of Jay. And so if we get a match between Punk and Gunther at SummerSlam, and if let's say Punk wins the belt and then Seth immediately cashes in, takes the belt from Punk, kind of like crushing his dreams of becoming the champion again. I just think that would be one of the best. I mean, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I just think it would work storyline wise.
It would definitely work. In my head, though, I'm thinking to myself, it's got to be Seth Punk at Mania, right? Like that's got to be the match
next year for sure, I think.
But I don't. Then I'm like, well, I don't know what you do with Cody, right? I'm not even thinking about him, but I'm thinking that has, they've been building that secretly for such a long time. I'm like, I just feel like that kind of to me feels like the end goal. So to me, it's kind of like Rollins is going to go into Mania as champion. I can see Punk being the Royal Rumble winner, meeting him there. But again, like you said, King of the Ring, what does happen? Are they going to utilize King of the Ring and just say, hey, this is the number one contendership? Or are they going to it's weird because like Austin won King of the Ring. He wasn't King Austin. He was just, I'm next in line. I'm still a badass. But you look at other people like Owen and it kind of helped.
Sheamus, that was awful.
That was the worst part of King
round
of the
are they
Ring,
doing?
though.
Are they going to do like just you're the number one contender, or is somebody going to try to use the King angle?
King of the Ring hasn't been a big deal in a long, long, long time. It's just like a yearly thing that they. Yeah,
that was the worst thing about it. Giving a guy like a lame scepter and a crown, like who gives a shit?
If they make it like an actual event again, maybe it would be worth a little bit more. But yeah, it's part of like another show, and they've had it as a part of SmackDown or Raw or whatever else. And
putting the number one contender stakes on it is the best thing that they could have done.
Yeah, like they announced that, I think on SmackDown when they announced that, and I was like, well, I think that's like you said, that's the best decision they could have made. And they could really go any way at this point. There's so many different scenarios they could go leading into next year for WrestleMania. Like if you look at Royal Rumble next year, it's going to be in Saudi Arabia. And, they're really pushing Sammy now.
That's bad too, man.
I mean, Sammy
Rumble's in Saudi next year?
It's going to be in the middle of the day, right? Wouldn't it be like 1 o'clock in the day?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But Sammy, I think, would be a good choice for that. Especially how they've been kind of like pushing him here lately. And he did a promo. I can't remember who was in the ring with him, but he did this promo a while back where he was like, I will be world champion one day, blah, blah, blah.
Brother.
And just that whole thing with Cena, him retiring, he's the last real champion and all this. Like, do you guys see Cena possibly just retiring as champion and they vacate it, and then whoever wins the Rumble will be the new champion?
I mean, to be honest, I don't know. But I mean, to have another Royal Rumble where the person wins the belt, I think is long overdue. Like, I would love that.
Yeah, I like because my favorite Rumble of all time is '92,
same.
where Ric Flair won the title in that Rumble.
And
that was
you
the
look
first
at the roster of people on that loaded. It was like everybody was going for the title. I mean, it was a huge deal.
They did that in 2016 or something.
I
right?
thought there was another one. Who won that one, anyways?
Was it
Triple H?
Yeah,
Triple H.
Figures.
Well, we were talking about, or you guys were talking about Punk, but what's going on with all the references to Cena? Like, Crater, I know you watch like week to week. You've noticed all those shots he's taking at Cena and The Rock. Like, he's got to transition back over to that. And I'm kind of done with the Rollins stuff, but if he could go back towards that stuff, those guys being like older rivals of his, I'd be more interested in that, honestly.
I mean, we're definitely, I think, at some point before the end of this year, we're going to see Punk and Cena again.
Is he the guy to take the title, though?
No.
And then The Rock. No?
Cody.
Okay.
Cody.
If anybody's taking it from him, it's Cody.
Okay.
But yeah, the whole stuff with him and Rock, I think that's just Punk being Punk. I just think he kind of throws it out there because he's savvy to like social media and everything. He knows that people are on social media talking shit about The Rock and stuff. And just the whole stuff that when he was on the Pat McAfee show and all that stuff after Mania. So I think that's just Punk just kind of like pandering to the fans at that point. I don't think anything's really going to become of that.
Fucking rock. Yeah, I wouldn't have done it that way, but
Getting back to the show tonight, though, we're going any more tangents. They did announce that WrestleMania was coming back to Las Vegas. They're like, New Orleans, go fuck yourself, Bulls. We're going back to Vegas. They gave us more money, and that's what it's all about.
Yep.
But you get money in the bank next year, so they're going to where the money is, man. I have it in Vegas every year, probably. But the main event tag match, Cena and Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes, baby, and Jey Uso.
now what was the original match? I kept hearing it was supposed to be that other dude.
and Travis Scott.
And who was going to be on the other side of him? Was it going to be Cena and Travis versus Jay and Cody? Or was
Cody
it going to be
was one for sure, but I don't
somebody
think
said it was supposed to be. They thought maybe a 6-man, but I didn't know who would have been on the other Cody side.
I hadn't really heard much about. The only thing I heard out of that was that Travis Scott was supposed to be the original partner to Cena, but as far
he
as
backed out, right?
yeah,
Like that.
as far as the other team, I don't know. I'm sure Cody was definitely in there, but as far as Jay being his initial partner that they chose, no idea.
I didn't even hear about that. But it's a pretty decent match. Actually, Cena seemed like he was almost back to normal. It seemed like, I don't know if it was where it was a tag match or what, but it seemed like he was a lot more into, the match and the moveset and everything.
Well,
than
I've
before.
noticed that his physique has changed a lot here in the past couple months since he's been back. Like, if you noticed, like maybe a year ago when he was out there and he was announcing that 2025 was going to be his last year, he looked like he had shed a lot of like muscle mass. But I've noticed here in the past couple months he's starting to kind of look like 2007 Cena.
Maybe he's juicing up a little bit back there with the boys.
Who knows?
There's something going on back there. There's no way AJ Styles looks like the way he does at his age. That's not possible.
Well, and something I wanted to mention on here too, though, is Logan Paul's fucking great.
Dude,
Like,
I was just gonna say that.
That
I was gonna
drone
say,
spot?
it's almost sad to see
crazy.
how fucking good this dude is. Great look. He keeps himself in great shape. He's a natural heel. He's a natural wrestler. He gets it, man. It's unbelievable to see. Love him or hate him, man. That guy gets it. He gets in that ring, and you know right away he's a cocky heel. There's not even any. I mean, that might be him in real life, sure. But
dude,
like,
his face has got heel written all over it. Like, I don't watch his shit online. Like, I don't know anything about stuff that he posts or whatever. But he has got the most smackable face possibly in the history of wrestling.
It works so well, man.
Natural shit-eating grin for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And like you was talking about how impressed, he is so impressive. I'm more and more impressed with him with every match. I mean, and tonight was really one of the first times that I can remember that he botched when he does that that kind of somersault clothesline that he does, because he messed up and he rolled his ankle or whatever. But I mean, he recovered like super quick from it.
Yeah,
and
Jay's timing was perfect on that.
yeah, they made that whole like the super kick to him work, even though he botched the springboard thing or whatever. But the guy's just it's I mean, love him or hate him based off whatever he's done, like on YouTube or whatever. The dude, as if you look at it just as from the perspective of a wrestling fan, this dude gets it like more than any of these other fucking celebrities that have come in. Like the whole Travis Scott shit is stupid as hell, but like, I mean, but with Logan Paul, if they would have done that with him, like that same situation they put with Travis Scott, I think that fans would have appreciated it a lot more. And just because he's a guy that came so quickly into this business and just like adapted more than guys that have done this their entire lives.
Yeah.
So,
No, I mean, he's like a freak. Like that sort of thing never happens when they bring celebrities in. He's just got a natural, like, of course, it's not all natural. I think that he has a wrestling ring in his backyard. and he
Yeah,
practices
and
all
that's
the
the
time.
thing I was going to say. It's not like this dude is going in for the paycheck. He doesn't need the money. The money's nice, I'm sure, but like you
Right.
can tell he really loves it. I mean, the guy
Yeah.
bought a ring for his yard to practice every day he wants. Like he's taking it serious. So I would hope that wrestling fans can at least look at that and be like, yeah, he came from here. He's still green. He didn't go through NXT. He came in as a name, but like he's doing it. Like he's doing it the right way. And he's killing it, and I'm happy he's there because he's a big star already. So to have another big name in your company is not a bad thing.
I love the spots that he did, including his entrance with the what do you call it? The
Phone.
not the phone. It was like what are
The
drone?
drone.
The drone.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, and then they did the spot with the suplex or whatever with Cody and
That
the
was great.
splash in the match. I thought that's really unique. And I just I mean I know some people want to shit on that out there because wrestling fans shit on everything. It doesn't matter what it is. There's going to be somebody out there that's going to have something negative.
But it
to
worked
say,
for
but,
him though. I think it
But
fit
yeah,
him.
for him it fits perfectly. I don't know. I really am impressed with that guy.
And it showed a lot more too, because with Cena, like I don't know if you guys find this as well, but like when Cena's out there as a heel, I'm looking at that. I'm like, Cena's playing heel, like he's playing heel wrestler. Like it doesn't feel natural to me at all. Logan feels very natural, like okay, that's natural. Cena, like it still doesn't come off like he's
not
pretending. Like you can tell he's pretending, and it's not natural. And I don't.
The
it is what it is. But I
Cena
just
thing
don't feel like it's
isn't
not.
working.
It doesn't feel normal. Like,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know,
it
it's almost
seems
like
like
he's
he's
playing a
playing
part
wrestler.
or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think that's all part of the story with Cena and this whole heel thing? Like, do you think it's going to just be like there's going to be a twist to it? Because if you look when Cena first came into the WWE, like the whole Doctor of Thugonomics, stuff that he was doing,
he was a good heel.
He was a fantastic heel.
Mhm.
Like, so what did I mean? I understand that he's been a face for like 20 years or whatever, but like, does he really lose that much like attention to detail when it comes to the heel, or is it more just part of the story and that's going to be the whole twist to it?
I think that they fucked the whole thing up too, because that the heel turn was supposed to be at Mania, and that's where it should have been. And for whatever reason, they decided, I think poor ticket sales or whatever,
That's what, according to Rock, yeah.
that they changed it up a month earlier to the Elimination Chamber. To me, that fucked the entire thing up.
I think Rock being part of it and then walking away fucked it up too. Because if you would have seen him and Rock together running the show, I think that would have helped Cena feel more natural when Rock's there to kind of work off with, where it's just Cena. It's like, and the thing is, maybe he's not doing the Thugonomics style heel because they're like, he's like, I'm too old to be doing that, so I'm just going to do this like real world champion, but still dress the same, right? Like if he dressed different, it might come off different. He's too much the same, but like he's trying to act different, but he's like not saying anything. So it just doesn't, there's a weird barrier of like what he's exactly doing. And you could tell exactly when he got into the ring and he's playing heel Cena, then he tags in Logan, and Logan comes in the ring, and you're kind of like, oh yeah, he's a heel.
But what do you think is going on with those teases they've been doing between Cena and Logan Paul, where they've kind of been like, shoving each other and kind of like having words with one another? Do you think that's going to lead
I'm trying to teach you how to be, this or whatever. Yeah, I don't
think that's
it must have just
lead to
been
anything.
like just something like to show like, hey, Cody and Jay are on the same page.
The team's
because they've
not
worked
working
together, and these guys were kind of matched together. It's just not working. Egos are getting in the way or something. Like I think that's what they were probably just. It might be just a one-off.
Unless he's the guy to turn Cena back babyface before he leaves. Like he drops the title to Cody, and then like his last match is Logan Paul. That'd probably be the only way he could get Cena back as a face. I don't see him leaving as a heel.
We got to talk about the R-Truth thing though. We run in
yeah.
during the match. Do you guys think that the whole firing thing or what, didn't renew him, was that a work the whole time, you think, or what?
You know what? I don't care
think
what
so.
anybody says, because somebody said in here that Triple H made it seem on the post show that it was part of an angle.
Yeah, I've seen
I
that.
don't think so.
I don't
I
think
doubt
so.
it.
I think that I said this before, I feel like this is that Matt Hardy effect back in the day where like They got rid of Matt Hardy because him and Lita was sleeping with Edge. They didn't want problems. People found out. They chanted Matt Hardy, to a point where like we got to bring this fucking guy back.
I think
couldn't have
Somewhere else,
predicted.
he's got all this popularity.
Yeah.
I think it's the same deal. I think this was we didn't realize how much people love truth. Now we're getting bombarded with freaking social media stuff and people hijacking the shows. Obviously, this guy can draw money. Obviously, he's beloved by the people that work here and the fans. So we're gonna bring him back. That's what I think happened. No questions about it. I don't care. They can try to play it off as because it doesn't make sense that you'd fake fire somebody.
It wasn't a
like
work
our
because
truth.
there's no way they could have predicted the backlash and the reaction on social media and all that stuff.
Well, because there's some more people like Carlito was like, they're not renewing him as well, so they're kind of going. Seems like they're going through some of these contracts, and I think the Miz. It's kind of rumored that.
Well, Miz came forward about that. He did a video too. So he says that you people need to stay off social media. Everything that you're seeing on there is absolute false. He says he has a long, good standing with the WWE right now because he was wearing like this hat that said like Miz Golf, which is a new YouTube series that WWE just put out. And so he was talking about that. So he said everything behind the rumors of him leaving WWE or having problems with the WWE is all false. But the other stuff, like the Carlito stuff, because when Carlito was released, nobody really was getting behind Carlito to, chanting his name or anything. But I think that R-Truth stuff, like you guys said, despite what Triple H said on the press conference, I still think it was just a thing where they realized they fucked up, so they brought him back. But the question is now going forward with that, because where they announced this new shirt on WWE Shop under the name Ron Killings instead of R-Truth, do they use that as a part of the story that he's going to be with TNA because of WWE's partnership with TNA? And like they could do that, they could continue that kind of rivalry between WWE and TNA, where Trick Williams on NXT just won the TNA World Championship. So does R-Truth or Ron Killings now, whichever he's going to go by, does he play into that? Or what do you guys think?
That would be a good use of him, I think. I mean, drop
It is
some of the
interesting that he's
comedy,
going by
but not all
Ron
of it.
Killings now. I think that's an interesting observation because obviously there's a reason behind it. Now, could it be as easy as he's under a weird agreement contract where he's just going by his name and like R-Truth is still technically fired, but this guy's getting paid like he's got a new kind of weird contract where he's like kind of working for the company, maybe half and half talent. I don't know, but I just think that this is probably going to just become some kind of like finish the story or kind of one-off thing. He's hot right now. Let's keep him around. And then I don't think he gets fired again, but I just think he's not going to be a prominent player for the long term.
They're definitely going to play that into some kind of storyline with him, though, because I mean, just look at how he entered the ring tonight, and then how he exited the ring and back to the crowd.
Look at his facial expression too.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
the way he acted. I hope they drop a little bit of the comedy stuff. He could still
and
be
that's why I
R-Truth
think that
everybody
R-Truth
likes.
name is probably gone.
Did you say that he had a Ron Killing shirt?
Yeah, it's on WWE Shop now. As soon as like the event ended, like they put it up there. It's just like this collage. I sent it in that group chat on Facebook.
Okay, I see it.
It's like a collage of these different images of him. But yeah, they don't have it listed it's listed under his real name, Ron Killings.
That's a good way to use him, man. I think have him as a babyface that actually is somewhat more serious, wins matches, not a jobber babyface. I think we've seen that for way too long. I've always been a fan of him, so I hope they do a lot more.
Yeah, me
with him.
too, man. It's first ever.
It's wild though.
American NBA World Champion.
Years old to be still going and like
True,
they said
yeah.
about Naomi, this could, if they played this right for a little while, this could be the biggest he's ever been at 50 years old. I mean, he was always there, but like he never was a prominent player. He was around.
No. Only
the
during his
biggest
heel
thing he
run
probably
briefly.
did was when him and Miz were like that unit and they fought The Rock and all that stuff. Like that was probably his biggest.
I still find
and
that
then when
he did a really good job at that too. Yeah.
I love that. That's my favorite stuff. From
He was
him.
smoking a cigarette and all that.
Yeah,
He got in trouble for that too.
Do you remember when he came out there dressed as a Confederate soldier?
Yeah. That Capital Combat, whatever the hell.
Damn it! It was so good.
It's a capital punishment.
I'm looking on this WWE shop though, guys. Like, you can totally tell that it's a different entity that runs this fucking company now because they are shilling the awfulest bunch of bullshit on here.
It's
at ridiculous
fanatics,
prices.
Man. It's fanatics.
But yeah, I mean, TKO is the one that's setting all this stuff up. Like, they've got an LA Knight autographed WrestleMania 41 cap for $129.99.
I know. Believe me, I've looked at that shit, and
And
I'm never going to buy this stuff again.
yeah, just ridiculous prices on some autographed
It is
turnbuckles
wild.
for $1,000.
But you know, it's
Pieces of the
interesting.
ring mat and stuff.
There's
Yeah.
a Cody Rhodes autographed WrestleMania ticket for $1,000.
I'm not gonna lie. I want that Karrion Cross hourglass thing. That is kind of cool.
But check this out though. So like they don't offer these on WWE Shop, but if you go to a live event, you know, a Raw, SmackDown, or whatever, they always offer like these 11x14s like this, these autographed like this one, Jey Uso. I got this for $25 at Raw. And they had like a Seth Rollins one. They have CM Punk ones, the Cena ones that when he's at those events, they're all $25 a piece. Why don't they offer these on WWE Shop though?
Because they want to sell the autographed tickets and hats and shit for like $500.
It's
It
probably
makes-
it's probably one. I mean, again, I don't know if they do it at every show. Like, hey, at the beginning of the show, sign 20 of these per guy. I don't know how it goes, but I mean, you figure if they're up on the site and there's just unlimited amount, like those dudes are going to be signing all the time, probably.
But they could limit it on the site too. You know,
I
like
agree
a-
with Justin Smith. They're pricing the average fan out. Like, the ticket prices are freaking
Was it-
insane.
There was a point in time, like I think it was when the show started, unless people were coming from that other show, I'm like, why does this arena seem fucking dead? Like, it didn't seem like it was full at all tonight. Like, it might have as it got going, but that first match with the women, if you go back and look at that when they're coming out, that whole camera side was like above.
I did
that
see a
first
base
floor,
section empty.
It was like empty.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if maybe people were rushing over from that last event they just did or something, maybe. But I was shocked, and they dimmed the lights down, and I don't know if people sat there, but I'm like, maybe people are just not buying those kind of tickets anymore.
Well, if you look like the SmackDown coming up this coming Friday is going to be in Lexington, Kentucky. And if you go on Ticketmaster and look at that, like what's available left on Ticketmaster for that show, there's a lot of seats still available. I mean, when I went to Raw in Louisville, like there was a lot of seats, especially on the floor, that were empty. So like it's just basically TKO is pricing out so many people. From
How much were the Raw tickets going for?
the ones that I got like the upper level, like the level off of the floor, and mine was like 105 plus like taxes and fees per seat. So yeah, it varies. Like you could look at that, but there's somebody in the next section like over on that same like level. It will be a completely different price for them. So it's all over the place right now.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, I think it was a pretty solid show tonight. Cody got his win back with Cena at the end, thanks to R-Truth coming back. So I mean, it was a fun enough show. I think it was maybe 2.5 hours, if that. It ended pretty early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty good show. I mean, I think they needed that ending, like a surprise ending like that. I think if it would have ended just with like a win, I think it wouldn't have been as memorable. Because to me, the thing I remember the most is the women's match at the beginning. But I think they needed a surprise like that. I think it really helped the show kind of keep it on the map. But let me ask you guys this: when he came out and speared him, I immediately in my head said, "Holy shit, it's R-Truth."
That's what I thought
Did
too.
everybody think that?
Yeah, I did.
No, I actually was thinking it was Roman Reigns for some reason.
Well,
A lot
I'll
of
tell
people
you how
thought
I
it was
knew
Travis Scott. They thought, but
Well-
I right away I was like, "Holy shit, that's got to be Truth. Truth's back."
Well,
Well,
here's the thing. Like, as soon as he came in, like, his shirt is pulled up.
Yeah,
That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
And you could see
Yeah,
his
once I
skin.
saw that, I knew it was R-Truth. Yeah.
I could always, and I yelled I said, "It's our truth. It's our truth." And I was like, "But wait a minute." And then I kind of second guessed myself because you said the same thing. Like it could be Travis Scott. But then when it was revealed to be our truth, I was like, "Holy shit, they did it!"
Yeah. I mean, I applaud them for doing it because like we said, no matter what they say, this was no angle. But I applaud them for listening to the people because they don't usually do that. And when they do something like that, regardless of what this ends up turning into, I'm glad they did. Because it's telling in a lot of reasons. You know, everybody always says when you get fired, you know, don't just sit in your house and cry and be depressed, like do something. And I think it just goes to show that these people, if they get on the fan side, like stuff like this can happen. Right, like get yourself over, like try to grab that ring, because if you've got fan support and something like this happens, you never know what it can do for you. Like I'm sure when R-Truth got fired, he never thought in a million years I'll be back next week. You know what I mean? Like I don't think he would have ever thought that. And I'm sure he didn't expect the reaction that he got from the people that, you know, were loud and taking over the shows and stuff. Like I'm sure it probably was huge for him. I don't think that was expected for anybody.
Did that quote you just said about like when they get fired, just don't like sit around. Didn't Cardona say something like that?
Yeah, he said, you know, you have three options. He said, like, number one, you can sit around and be depressed and kind of fall into obscurity. You can, you know, go and start working the indies. You can, I think what he said, you can evolve yourself or, you know, into something new.
Cardona,
and that's kind of what he did, basically. And then what happens is people are going to him when they get fired because he's got the toy company. He's signing people for that. Like, he's helping a lot of these people out.
That's a guy that, in my opinion, should never go back to WWE. He should just continue doing what he's doing right now. I think he's really like.
Well, he said himself that WWE has never offered him anything to come in.
I don't think it should matter to him. I don't think it. No. I mean, the dude has got like his own like thing where he's inspiring people that are losing their jobs with WWE and these other bigger companies to just kind of go on to the independent scene, you know, recreate themselves. I mean, he did that. Plus, he has his own like fucking toy company and everything now. So, dude's living the dream for sure.
He married a diva.
Hell yeah!
Did you see that clip when he was on that podcast? I shit myself. I posted it on Instagram where what's the guy's name that does all the wrestling interviews? He's really good.
Oh, Chris Van Vliet.
Van Vliet, yeah. So he was like, they were talking, and he said, and Cardona's quote was like, he's like, you know, he's like, I was just collecting toys and stuff like that. He's like, you know, when I was a kid, like I had, you know, the Divas posters on my wall, and like I'm like married to one. He's like, it's insane to think about. He's like, you know, growing up, I always wanted to know what a diva looked like naked. Now I know what one looks like naked. You know, like he said, he's like, if that's not living the dream, I don't know what is. Like, and it's so true. It's just so funny to think about, like, how much has gone right for this dude since he's been fired, you know, because the Chelsea Green thing is like, she wasn't even in WWE when he got let go.
Right.
So he had her with him, like running the indies as like his Francine to his Shane Douglas. And then that got noticed. And then WWE brought her in. So it's pretty crazy.
Another thing I love about Cardona is that he, you know, not only is he a wrestling fan, he's a huge horror movie fan too, especially of the Monster Squad. So with him like being so heavily involved in like the whole toy industry now, I know he's really advocating for Monster Squad to get these, you know, like the respect it deserves. Yeah, like that.
Yeah,
or
I'll probably
like,
get those.
Like push NECA to kind of do something where they could put out.
It's very hard though, man. Like that. Universal, they're assholes. They're it's going to be tough.
I would die if it.
Did you see though that he's doing awesome. Rambo? I mean that had to have been a little bit hard.
And Kickboxer too. Like he's doing. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, just the fact though that it's the Universal monsters, like Universal are the worst when it comes to like IPs and protecting all that stuff. So. They gave him a hard time for just the movie itself. So the toys, they take that shit super serious. Yeah. But we'll see. But
never know.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun show tonight. They got a busy summer because coming up Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on the 28th, the Night of Champions. And then until then they're doing the King of the Ring tournament on the shows. And
Yeah,
they
Raw. So.
originally were going to move SmackDown back to 2 hours, but now it's 3 hours permanently.
I'm fine with
Jesus
that. I'm
Christ.
fine with it, man. I mean, I would sit there and fucking watch SmackDown if it was 4 hours. That's just me. Like, I I don't care. Like, I sit and watch at least probably 40 hours of wrestling every week.
Well,
I catch the replays, so I don't have to sit through like commercials or ads or whatever.
that's what
so
I
I'm-
do. I
I'm
usually
cool.
fast forward through the commercials.
Yeah.
But yeah, Great American Bash coming up on July the 12th. Saturday night's main event also on July the 12th. That's rumored to be Goldberg's last match, right? Isn't that the rumor?
Well,
did hear-
supposedly he got injured while training here recently, though. So who knows?
So they might have to delay that. But yeah, lots of stuff because, like, okay, Great American Bash and Saturday night's main event on the 12th. On the 13th, it's the Evolution pay-per-view on July 13th.
Yeah.
And SummerSlam is early. It's 2 nights. I guess that'll be the next live, like, WrestleManiacs show that we do.
Oh, we're not doing Evolution.
Well, maybe we can do Evolution. I
That might
don't
be a
know.
good one.
But SummerSlam is 2 nights, August 2nd and 3rd. What do you guys think about the 2-night SummerSlam?
I don't like it. I don't think it's needed.
Two
Not for
nights SummerSlam.
Not for Summer. I mean, SummerSlam, they're looking at it just as big as Mania now, I guess. But I just think the whole 2 nights thing is kind of overkill. I mean, I think WrestleMania is enough for 2 nights, but I don't think you need to do any other events for 2 nights.
You know what I do like though is I love the Saturday events.
Yeah, I think
do.
most of them are on Saturdays anymore. It seems
But is it,
like.
do you guys find that that's so much better? Like I'm thinking right now, like imagine all of a sudden we're done and it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to bed and
Got to
start
work
working.
tomorrow.
Like
Yeah.
it sucks, dude. Like
Yeah.
Saturdays are so nice. I
I'm
mean, obviously
not.
now you're like,
Well, you're in between work, right?
I am.
But it's one of those things where it's like tomorrow I'm like, all right, I got a day to do stuff. I don't have to try to rush around and all this stuff. So it's nice. I really like it.
Yeah. The only thing is like the 2-night thing, especially for WrestleMania this year. I noticed that most of it, they could have had the entire show in one night easy, because most of it was ads and just bullshit, like time waste and stuff.
And I mean, Mania this year, I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was, but I just think a lot of that stuff this year was just really a lot of filler. And just, there was maybe like 3 or 4 top storylines going into that Mania that really people even cared about. But I just think everything else was just kind of thrown together really quickly.
You know, something I was thinking of, because they're doing Saturday night's main events throughout the year. And they usually did, like, I don't know if they're going to do it this year, like a New Year's Evil or something like that, as they call it. What if they run the entire Cena angle until like New Year's Eve or something? They finally have the match with Cody and Cena. This would be the last. Like, I think it's almost how they have to do it, because he's saying he's going to leave with the belt, right?
Well,
and his time would be up in 2025. So how would they do it?
What day does that fall on though?
I was looking here. I don't think that they've got all those dates that far out.
The 27th would be like the last Saturday of December this year. And from what they've been talking about, like it's going to possibly happen around his hometown in Boston. I know Saturday night's main event is a possibility, but they also been talking about this new event that they wanted to put together just kind of based around him called Ruthless Aggression. I don't know if that's still happening, but I mean, if they did do that, that would be a really good way to have his last match a part of.
What is the December PLE? Usually it's like TLC or something, right?
Yeah, what has it been the past few years?
Well, the last thing that I'm seeing on here is Survivor Series, but that's not to say
November.
That's
November
right?
29th. They've got an NXT show in December and a Saturday night's main event in December, which it could be Saturday night's main event.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not going to add anything else in December, I would think that may be it. Saturday night's main event.
Yeah. We'll just have to see on that. I think it's interesting. So, but yeah, guys, hey, we appreciate everybody tuning in with us tonight, staying up late. We're almost 1 a.m. here on the East Coast. But yeah, I guess the next thing we may do Evolution. We'll see if everybody's around. If not, it'll be SummerSlam. So, Garrett, what do you got coming up on the Born to Be Rad channel, man?
Well, I just did a history of Reanimator on physical media. If you guys are into the movie Reanimator, you can check out all the different physical media releases.
I got one right here, actually.
What you got? The new one?
No, this is the oldest fuck one.
It's the classic, though,
That's
man.
Elite Entertainment, boys.
Love that case, man.
And then I did. I dropped today 10 overlooked camp slashers or camp horror movies. It's some of them are slashers, but so 10 camp horror movies that you can add to your summer watch list that are a little overlooked. So I added that one to the channel today too.
Cool. And Stuntman Mark, you actually have a YouTube channel as well. If people want to check that out, what do you got on there?
Actually, me and Rambo just did a stream the other night, so that was a live. I joined in probably like an hour in.
Of course.
Then, yeah. Hey, I was working, man. But yeah,
You ain't going nowhere, pal.
yeah, we went for like 3.5, almost 4 hours.
Oh,
Really
God.
long.
Oh,
wow.
Lord.
Yeah, we pulled
do
it all
that.
nighter. So
Can't do that.
There's a whole lot of content there.
Crater Mania, what you got going on that channel?
So right now, man, like I've been very like hesitant to put stuff out there, like so consistently, like for the past since January, I've been doing like maybe like 2 videos per week, but like I've been kind of slowing down here lately. It's not that I'm getting burnt out or anything. It's just like, trust me, there's a lot of other things going on right now in my life that I can't really talk about on here, but like it's just been kind of slowing me down. But I am going to be doing my second part of my Masters of Macabre series, which was, Vincent Price and Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing films. So I'm going to be doing that tomorrow night. And right now I've been rewatching the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise and just some of the Friday the 13th movies. I'm going to do kind of like a little not really reviews of those films, but I'm just going to kind of put this Freddy versus Jason video thing together, just kind of like talking about like how I felt about those, growing up and all that. So I'll be doing that next week. And funny enough, like, Garrett was talking about, he's doing like the summer camp stuff. I got here in a few weeks, I got some stuff like that coming up. I'm going to be just talking about different camp, not just horror, but just different camp movies. Like one of my favorites was always Camp Nowhere with Christopher Lloyd.
I love that movie.
So I'm going to talk about that. I'm probably going to be talking about maybe some of the Wet Hot American Summer movies. I really like those. I'll see. I'm still kind of putting that together, but yeah, just still, chugging right along with the whole 500 movies in 2025. And that's mostly what I'm doing right now. I may throw some other stuff up, maybe some wrestling content or whatever here and there. Usually when I do that, it's just kind of very sporadic. So you never know.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh,
Very
CK,
cool.
let me drop this on you. I mentioned this to Garrett a while back on one of his streams. Future WrestleManiacs show, we do wrestling physical media. I know we do physical media stuff,
man.
like for all these boutique labels and all that stuff, but I've got a ton of, and I'm sure all you guys do too.
Yeah.
I think that would be a cool show. I don't know how we'd structure it, but
Well,
I think
even
we
like,
might
what are you
go
talking
off
about?
this,
VHS tapes and stuff too?
Anything.
anything.
Oh, man.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah.
That
That'd
would
be a
be
good
fun.
one for sure. Yeah, it'd be a good one-off show to do as well. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be down to do that. So, yeah, we should schedule this sometime.
I think you all should do that one I recommended. I suggested to you as well, Wes, that tier ranking of women wrestlers' asses.
I think I'd be down for it. And not even have their faces. The pictures would be their asses.
Wow.
Yeah, that'd be so hilarious.
We gotta do the magazines.
There's tons of stuff. Yeah.
Man, if we did magazines, I'd have like a whole tote full of that shit. I could
Yeah. No, there's all kinds of possibilities. I'd be down to do the physical media thing, though. I've a ton of that stuff in storage, the wrestling DVDs.
Garrett, you got a lot, right?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of VHS. I have a ton of DVDs, and I've got a ton of VHS, but it's all the ones that recorded right off of the pay-per-view. So I don't have like the actual VHS Coliseum videos. I've got the ones right from TV, which is kind of cool because then you get all the shit they didn't cut or whatever.
Yeah.
I have tons of those, like taped ones.
I've got a ton of like tape stuff too, especially some that Wes actually gave me years ago. Some old ECW tapes from when they were on TNN.
Yeah.
So like
Those are, I still have like my first big thing in internet land back in the day was wrestling tape trading.
trading, yeah.
So man, I was like huge into that for probably 5 or 6 years there.
Me too. I used to do it a lot up at the Bull Creek Flea Market.
Yeah.
I'm sure, and Wes is familiar with the Bull Creek Flea Market.
Well,
It
everybody
would be a
knows.
bad
That's-
idea
it's
if I can
world
get some of those
famous.
boxes down. I'm sure if we looked in the boxes of wrestling stuff, there's probably a lot of tapes that we forgot we even had.
Yeah. That was my thing, man. Like when I would go to bed at night or whatever, I'd pick one of those random tapes and I would watch, I don't know, Halloween Havoc 91 as I was going to bed.
Hell yeah, man.
That's
But
cool.
I guess the next thing that we're doing on Monday nights at 10 p.m., Brendan and I, Wet Movie One on YouTube, are finally doing that Goonies commentary that we've been talking about for years and years. Since it is, I think today technically is the 40th anniversary of when that was released in theaters.
Yeah,
So-
you guys going to talk about that event that they had this weekend? That big Goonies convention thing out in Astoria?
Well, we'll talk about a little bit of everything, I'm sure, because like that was a movie that was just really my first favorite movie, and probably still is my favorite of all time.
Yeah, bring Felsher on for the Goonies.
Yeah, of
That's what
course.
I mentioned that to him last time.
Gosh,
Well, he's welcome. He's welcome.
that man hates the Goonies.
That's a shame. And then speaking of Felcher, though, on Friday the 13th, he is ranking his favorite. Favorite to least favorite, or least favorite to favorite Friday the 13th movies.
Interesting.
So that'll be we've been doing those ranking videos for the last 3 years or so, and just finding more people that wants to rank stuff. So it'll be fun.
It's fun.
All right. But guys, it is late. I want to go pass out. This gummy is working really good on me right now. And we will catch you guys next time. We need to think of a creative way to end these shows, because it's not Dead Pit, but it's the WrestleManiacs. Brother. See y'all later. I want all these people to click everything they're supposed to click.
You haven't been liking them, you haven't been subscribing to them, you haven't clicked the bell or notification or anything like that.
Folks, why don't you click the like button?
Do you hate us? Do you not want to see us succeed?
Why don't you click the heart button?
Is this something that you have against our particular show?
Why don't you subscribe?
You should click on one of them buttons right now if you want us to continue to breathe greatness into your life.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit radio shirts. You can get Last South on the Left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're gonna love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Special thanks goes out to our supporters on Patreon. You know what kind of stuff you can get on Patreon, Uncle Bill, starting at only $1 a month?
What's that?
Access to every Dead Pit show since 2005. We got almost 200 fan commentaries that we've done over the decades.
Here's what other fucking Patreons do. They're like, hey, give us money and then we'll let you see a video early that we're going to release like a fucking week from now, and then that's all we're going to give you. Meanwhile, we have a literal jukebox full of songs, thousands of reviews. I don't even know how many shows are up on there now that we've done over the years.
Hundreds of thousands.
You need to figure this out now and subscribe to us on Patreon and YouTube and Instagram and help us to 1 million. The road to 1 million subscribers starts today.
So deadpitonpatreon.com. Join today. Tiers start at only $1, but I'd recommend at least the $10 tier.
You can do 50. The stock